terminals, so many terminals. Trying to make my way to luggage, but you see the others, they pushing and shoving it all in my area. In my area.
Welcome in. We're just outside of Arusha in Tanzania. Arusha. I keep saying it wrong. Arusha, not Russia, in Tanzania. So first time to Africa?
Yeah, first time to Africa. I've never been, honestly, I haven't been much overseas. Like coming to Australia was the first time that I had gone.
To Australasia.
Yeah, like really like across the world. Like South America and Mexico were really the only places I had gone to previously. But,
and we're pouring up a cup of strong coffee, which you guys just released. RAWDAWG espresso.
Yeah, we did espresso with strong coffee. This is their instant latte, which is like...
This one's crazy. Snickerdoodle. It's like... which I just found out is not Snickers. So yeah. Snickerdoodle is actually
It's like a cinnamon... Yeah, it's a cinnamon cookie.
It's really good. It's got 15 grams of protein. It's got 5 grams of MCTs. What are MCTs?
Oh, I forgot I need a
spoon. He'll get a spoon. I'll tell you about this, even though I don't know much about it. 2 grams of fiber, 12 servings in a pack. Strong coffee. The founder's good friend of Noah's, and they just did RAWDAWG espresso together. It's pretty sick. I really like what they've got. But yeah, we are in Tanzania, and we head to Kilimanjaro. Not tomorrow, but the day after. Tomorrow we're going for a quick sort of safari vibe, which I think is going to be more like a zoo.
Yeah, I'm so excited to go just see all the
But
you're actually like walking with them, which I think is cool.
Yeah, and feeding them. Yeah. But it's not as raw as like being out in the outback with the lions.
Yeah, I want to see a lion eat a fucking zebra. Like that'd be so cool.
Yeah, so we've both been traveling. We were both in London together. Jack and I came out a couple days earlier because we got our flights mixed up. I think Noah sort of got his flights mixed up as well. Yesterday, Noah arrives at the airport and goes like, "Hey, where are you guys?" And we're like 2 hours away, and he's like, "Okay, I don't have any money and I don't have my card, so I can't get any money." And then I got this call from the taxi driver, and he was basically holding Noah ransom.
Yeah, so, he was gonna take my left pinky if I didn't.
Luckily, he's got all of his.
Dude, all of my pinkies here. Look at that. Boom. Cheers.
Thank you.
I think that's like by far my favorite thing. Besides it like tastes good, it literally just takes me 2 seconds. Like,
yeah,
I just hate making a whole coffee or having to go out and do the whole thing. I literally just hot water, pour it in a scoop, mix it, and you're chilling.
Well, also like you don't need milk for it, so you can just mix it with water. Yeah. But it tastes like it has milk in it, so it tastes like a latte. It's pretty sweet, but it's really nice.
Yeah, and I haven't seen much like. He's really innovated a lot. There's some other things like mud water and some other like natural.
Yeah, I went to mud water in LA. That was sick.
Yeah, so their whole thing was like the whole take on like mushrooms instead of coffee. But honestly, like I like coffee, so I don't want to.
Don't want to leave coffee. Yeah, I don't think bit of caffeine in your day.
But it's really interesting going to like traveling to places because I love traveling with you because we're so different on like our approach of like how we like you're very much more planned on like what's going on, where you're staying, and I'm just like show up and like figure it out. So I always love balancing and like bouncing out. That's why I think we work as a good team because like I think we have a lot of like similar like ideologies.
Similar values.
Yes. And
I think we connect on value, but then the way that we like operationalize our values and maybe like live out our day to day is a little bit different. But I think that's cool.
100%.
And that's the best part. Like we met first time was in Austin, right?
Yeah, because I'd seen you on social media for like a minute, or like the past like year, or like I'd seen like little snippets of you, and then I don't remember when we like officially followed each other, because we were like friends on socials before you came to Austin, but Austin was the first time that we really like had actually like interacted, because I think we just followed each other, but we didn't like I didn't have any reason to like say what's up because you were also in like Australia.
And it was perfect timing. Like I feel like the RAWDAWG that we came to was huge. Chris Williamson was there. I think it was like 1,000 or like
dude, that was the if there was any RAWDAWG to go to, like that was one of like the best ones because I remember being so nervous about that one because like I'd finally convinced Chris to come. Like I was waiting for like the right time of like organizing all these things, and then you said that you were coming, and I was like, oh, like let me ask him. Like I remember being so nervous to ask him to come out just because he's like it's my whole proposition with like asking for something is like you have to be giving them something in return, like or you need to give them value in some way to be able to ask for like a favor. And obviously he's a way bigger creator, and he like does all these cool things. But
he had new tonic there.
Yeah, I had new tonic there because that was like my leverage. I was like, yo, like, because he was still pretty new. I was like, I can get you a bunch of content. It'd be good for you. And but he had also mentioned me a couple times in his podcast, which was kind of crazy because he just supported RAWDAWG. Like he thought the idea of
in Austin as well.
Yeah, like he just thought the idea of like run clubs and like it being like a new dating scene and like that was kind of like our approach was like he thought it was really interesting because he's really big on like social things and like he always has different like doctors on or like social whatevers, so it was like an interesting take. And then we had him come and talk, but that was a good like, and then we like worked out. I remember we got that one clip of like we went on a run and then we like afterwards and we like cheered and he had his water and I had my joint. That's fire. I remember that one vividly.
We put you through a Murph as well. I feel like you guys have been doing
that fucking
like on the minute
killed me, bro. Like what was it like
but it was Austin heat. Like that was so warm.
Dude, yeah.
That was fun.
So hot.
I feel like seeing that run club, I remember like going back to Australia and just being like, fuck, we need to create something of a similar spec, because I was like, oh, when they come over, like we want to be able to create the same sort of vibe and feeling. I think something you guys do that really stands out is, one, although you stand up and do your speech and things like that, you're never up there the whole time. You guys go and like mix and mingle. You're never staying just with each other, and you have so much like energy. I feel like Noah is like everything you are online is like, I wouldn't even say it's an exaggeration. Like I think you know how to dial it up for views or for the camera, but at the end of the day, like it's just an exaggeration of your own personality.
Yeah, and I remember whenever we did that one talk in Sydney where I was talking about it's like it's being intentional with your content, where it's like obviously I'm a very high energy person, and that doesn't mean that it's on 24/7. Like me naturally, I just like being a lot of energy, but it's knowing when to like take clips and like when to bring energy. Like realistically, you can't record videos and be like low energy and be really boring. Like you need to know to like turn it on, and like that definitely comes as like a skill. Some people are better on it. It still took me a long time to like even get comfortable with the camera, because it's still really weird to like,
well, you're years in, like people forget that. I think they look at you like finished product and they may have seen the growth recently or like with RAWDAWG and they're like, oh, he literally started a run club and now look at him. It's like no.
There was 5 years of posting content and making no money. I tried a clothing company that didn't work. I tried like e-com. I remember I was literally talking with Jack about trying to do like drop shipping, and like I heard you guys
talking last night.
Dude, I had no idea what I was doing, and but that was all part of the process. And like no one sees those things anymore because it's past the sense. But like every time I start a new adventure, it's always like it's scary because you're like, I know that I failed, and I know how much that feeling sucks to fail. And I think for a lot of people, that fear is what stops them initially from even like taking the risk. But I found that like, dude, if I didn't post that like one post on TikTok, like, I don't know, almost like 6 years ago now, like, no, it was 5 years. I wouldn't even be here today. Like we wouldn't have met. Like, I don't know where I would have been. Like the risk now is by me not taking the risk. Like that was the real risk of like, because then otherwise, like, dude, your normal job stays there. Like you can always go back to your normal sales job. You can always go back to like waitressing or doing whatever. Like it's not going anywhere, but you only have so much time to really like take all these risks. Like now I'm having a kid. Like it seems now the risks that I'm taking are a lot more thoughtful, because I'm like, fuck, like I'm not just taking care of myself anymore. Like I have more people, and like now I've like, dude, and like that makes life so much more stressful versus like it's just me and my dog, and like I'm just like figuring it out. Like, and I've completely failed backwards, where like I was doing social media, I was doing roofing sales, and I remember I made like $90K that year, and I thought I was on top of the world. I was like 21. I had bought a Shelby GT350, which is like my dream car for like a long time. It was the 500, but 350 was like close enough. And I was on top of the world, and I was doing roofing sales, so it's like seasonal, and so it's kind of slowing down. And I was like, fuck it, like I'm just gonna go full time on social media. I never thought that was gonna end up being my job, but it kind of was just placed there, and I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm just gonna delusionally trust that money will come. It didn't come. The clothing brand I started didn't work. I tried this like online community that didn't work. I had no idea how to approach brand deals or like how to like meet people. I wasn't friends with really other creators at the time. Like I just didn't even know how the game worked. And then next thing I know, I'm back in my parents' house. Me and my girlfriend broke up. I literally had like $80 in my bank account, and I was like, just like rock bottom of thinking like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I feel like I just like threw everything away. And it was literally the only thing that like pushed me through was the delusion of, I just like have this unwavering belief that like I will be successful, and I don't know how, but this is just a part of my journey. And if I just like keep moving forward, eventually something will work out, you know? Like it only has to work once. Like RAWDAWG was the first thing that actually worked, and it was like, and all of a sudden it set up all these new things. I learned all these new connections. Like I'd been growing a bunch. Like it just takes one fucking failure. Like you look at what Alex Hormozy failed, like I think it was like 8 businesses or something ridiculous. I had done like 2 and I thought, or 3, and I thought that was like, dude, I was getting really fucking close to being like, maybe I am like just not meant for this. But like, dude, just keep moving forward. Like I found that was the number one thing that pushed me through.
What does keep moving forward look like when you're at rock bottom at your parents' house, $80 to your name? Like, what does that even look like? Is that posting content every day?
I think I reverse engineered it, where I started looking at, that was like the first time I really like, was like, okay, I actually asked that question. I was like, what does forward even, like, what direction do I want to go now? Because I was back at rock bottom, and I was like, okay, my back's against the wall. I have nothing left for me. Like, what direction do I even want to move in? And for me, that was posting, keeping up with like my physical and mental health, and then putting myself out there as much as humanly possible. So like meeting new people, trying to put myself in uncomfortable situations, which for me was just, it was making new guy friends. Like I never went to college, and so after high school, I found that it was really important for me to change my environment and the people that I was around. Like I had some good friends that weren't like bad people, but they just weren't moving in the direction that I wanted to go. And I knew that you're the sum of your friends and the people that you surround yourself with. And if you don't surround yourself with people that are also on the same wavelength, like I had to separate all my different hobbies. So like if I wanted to record videos, I just had to be by myself. If I wanted to go like work out, I could hang out with like one of my friends. If I wanted to go like hang out with friends and get social, then I could do it. Everything was so separate, and I realized that like it all just needs to come into one fruition. Like that's when I met Tin and Darren, and then all of a sudden like hanging out was working out, hanging out was making content, hanging out was like trying to do, like we would literally travel to Colorado and we would just split gas, and then we'd just sleep in his truck, and then we'd go hike, and like we would do whatever it was that we could with what we had to like make opportunities and things for content, for different things. Like we weren't doing anything ridiculous. Like now you can see us and we're traveling and doing a bunch of cool stuff, but like before, we had no money. We were all back in my parents' house. We were all broke. We were all trying to figure it out. Like we were trying to flip furniture. Like that didn't fucking work. I think we dead ass sold maybe one thing, and then my parents, dude,
it's like your parents'
table,
couch,
dude, like
some like family heirloom, and you're like shoveling it off,
and literally like, and I remember I have videos of us like literally like sanding and painting, and like literally nothing sold. And I remember they got into woodworking, and like that was their trade, and then I got into tattoos, and then that was like my trade.
Who, Darren and Tin were woodworking?
Yeah, they literally took an apprentice. Well, that inspired me to get back into content, because I had stopped previously because I didn't like my image on there, and so it wasn't making me happy. Like I was just posting to get views and like to be this person that I was like
pulling like some satisfaction from.
Yes, and like when I first started, like I was fresh out of high school. I'd never gotten like attention from girls like that, or like just like masses in general. And all of a sudden, like I had all these views and all this whatever, and I was like, oh, I can just post me being shirtless and cooking, and like I get all this validation. But
I think when you're young and you're in that high school validation period, it can be a little bit dangerous like that. Like I do think social media, I was talking to Fonz about this, and I was like, it's so much better to wait a little bit until you're at least like a little bit more developed. I feel like mentally, like you're going through a lot when you're in high school. Like high school is young to be posting on social media and exposing yourself to like the world.
Especially short form. I think that like short form, because it wasn't until I was like, I after, like, TikTok had happened, like, maybe my junior or senior year, but it wasn't really, like, it was still really, really cringe to do it. But then after high school, that's whenever it started. Like, that was, like, right when COVID happened. It was, like, 2020 or 2021, whenever COVID happened. And that's when I started posting, which was after high school. And, like, thank God for that, because, like, it became, especially now, like, it's so brain rot. And I think the way that it affects your brain and the way that it, like, it makes you approach life is so much different, where you're so attached to views. You don't know how to, it took me so long to figure out how to differentiate or separate like people's opinions from like things that I wanted. Like if a bunch of people hated on like my video, like I thought I was a piece of shit, and I didn't know how to like step away and be like, oh, these are people that are like projecting their own insecurities, or they just don't like it. Like you have to learn how to not take things personally. And I can't imagine being like a freshman or sophomore in high school trying to post, and like there's some like middle-aged asshole that's just like had a bad day and is like, you know what, fuck you. And then like it's dude, that's hard to not look at a comment that's super mean, or someone saying something about your appearance or whatever, and they're just like dogging on you, not including like hundreds of people dogging, if not thousands of people dogging on you. The potential of that like is shattering. Like I see so many young audiences, their appearance, their like self-validation is all through other people, and I think that's so dangerous.
Yeah,
so dangerous.
Well, I think to be ostracized. Oh shit!
I was just trying to put my foot up.
That's hilarious. I think to be ostracized and like, yeah, to be outed at that scale, it's hard for our brains to even like wrap our head around. Like, yeah. I think we weren't fundamentally raised to understand social media and to interact with that many people at once. Like we're used to our small little village.
I was gonna say most people like just within your town or like your high school thing. That's what I was saying. It was such a drastic change of like after high school, the only like masses, whatever, like I had a little private account of just like my friends. Like I had never put myself out there in that way of like the world. It'd only been like my age group in high school, you know, which is like 1,000 people. So like, I thought that was a lot, but then to be able to post to like potentially millions of people, like it just takes one video to happen to like blow up, and all of a sudden like you're not just getting the opinions of people in the US either, like it's all around the world. And you're
getting like, there's different political opinions as well. Like, you know, you're in Texas, you're shooting guns. Maybe people in Texas love that, but outside of that, they see that like really negatively. So now you've got people opinionated on that.
And people are passionate about that shit. Like, I remember I was
because guns is attached to like a political ideology. So it becomes very like, oh, well, now you're like blue or red. And then it's like all of a sudden there's this political divide. And then whatever that represents, like it just, it's crazy.
I hate the whole like everything is so black and white. Like people like, you have one opinion and people think that you have to be like, oh, you're red or you're white. But I feel like I have so many opinions that are some on here and some over there, and people just really want to like put you in a box, and people love like doing that. And I feel like that was a big thing for me with social media too, of like learning how to post and like how to consistently gain views and like go into a niche. I found that like with my journey of posting, as soon as I niched too much, where I was only posting a certain type of content, I found like I became my own box, and I started like not loving social media. Like specifically it was gym for me, and then I only posted gym videos for like a year and a half, and then that's kind of when I hit my break. I was like, oh, I don't like this anymore, because it just wasn't fun anymore.
I think you're the perfect example though of like, you are just living life, and the more life experience you have, the better your content becomes. So you almost let, in a way, your life dictate the content. And I think that's really cool. Like even as you're saying from the very beginning, when you didn't have much money, you weren't on these like crazy overseas trips, but you would go and do stuff like hike and just document that. It wasn't about like coming up with the content ideas, wasn't sitting in your room looking at a whiteboard or some like crazy elaborate strategy. It was literally just being like, okay, I'm going to go live, be like who I am, and I'm just going to document the process.
I really like that approach of like, you said something, it's like a short form of like your proposition point.
Like between documentation and authority?
Yeah, where I'm like, you figure out what do you have? Like you can take inspiration, and you could really like other creators and like kind of see pacing a video, and like there's like things that you can like whatever. But I feel like if you focus too hard on what other people are doing and like other trends, like you get lost in the sauce of that, and maybe like one video will work, but that's never how you consistently grow a personal brand. Like you have to, I love how your content is built around, like, it really feels like that. Meeting you now, I'm like, yes, like that is a good representation because it's all what you love. You know, it's business, it's how to help people. Like you were I stayed with him for like a week, him and Bree, and
Noah and I share that. We share that value though, because I watched Noah continuously help all of his friends, and he's helped all of them on the way up as well, and continues to help people. I think we share that value of just like, if you have a lot to give it.
Exactly. And so you build your personal brand around that, where it's like all the things that you love. And I feel like after meeting you and seeing that there's like this exact correlation, like what I see on Instagram is really what I see in person. And like, I think that that's what builds such strong brands. Cause your first year you got like 300K, like, which is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I think those are the validations of like when you, and it is really hard to do. And some people, I think you're really naturally talented. So like, it just like, you naturally had that like aspiration. Obviously it takes time of like editing and getting like your skill set. But like, if you can really like get into that current, I think you move so much faster than someone who is like obviously trying to just like do what they think other people would like.
Yeah, I think the modeling of creators gets misconstrued a little bit, and I've lent on it a lot because I was like, okay, what's the fastest way that people can learn? If we just take like how we learn as humans is like modeling, you know, we model behavior off our parents, we model off like people we're around. But I think, as you said, it's model the technical aspects. Like if I saw one of your videos blow up and I'm like, okay, it's like fast-paced music, it's like a montage, he's selected all these clips where he's like smiling, dancing, there's movement in it. That's what you take away, not, oh, he's holding like a cigarette or a joint in his hand. I'm going to take that. Yeah, and like all of a sudden now I'm holding the cigarette and joint and I've just taken like part of your USP. It's like me being like, oh, I need to like become more like you to be successful.
Yes. And I think that's like the total typical approach of what people think. They like, oh, let me become like this person then I'll get a part of that. But you'll never be a better someone else. I'll never be a better Alfie and you'll never be a better Noah. You know?
I wouldn't try. If we swapped and like tried to live like each other for a day, it would be...
And we were literally talking about this morning where we were like, because Alfie works from like the moment he wakes up from like till the moment at night, and like I respect the fucking hustle because I'm like, I lived with him and so I saw it. It wasn't like him like talking about like, oh, I'm gonna work, or me just seeing you do like, I think a lot of people want to like fake work, like they want to appear like they're working, but they're really not really doing anything. And I'm like, you get the fuck after it. And I like very much respect that, but that's just like not
that ain't me.
Yeah, like what was it? There's this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And part of that, like the big thing I took away from that was it's not about not giving a fuck, but it's about choosing what you do give a fuck and not giving a fuck about the other things, but really giving a fuck about those things that you do care about. And it's like, what are you willing and not willing to sacrifice? And it's like, with my approach, like, even like as Amplify, for example, like I could totally go out and like build my own course on like how to do the thing. Like I have the knowledge and like I could figure out how to like do the thing, but like I see how much you work and like you get after it and like you manage the sales team to like continuing posting content. Like you were genuinely teaching like what, there's like 600 fucking people in that bitch, 1,000. And it's like, dude, like that's a lot. And you get the reward obviously of like putting on the work, but like I found that like growing up, me and my dad didn't have a good relationship. And he had never told me that he was proud of me. So for a long time, I was trying to like prove my worth. And so I was like, I'm going to be a fucking 100 millionaire, like, like at fucking by like 25, like way faster than you, just to like prove my worth to him. And I think a lot of people do that similar thing, but just prove their worth to people in general. Like they want to prove that they're like successful. So they'll get a really nice sports card but really they're like struggling just because they want to appear in this way.
Well, what was the stat? Coachella?
Oh yeah, fucking, right. I think it's Klarna or Afterpay, whatever the one.
Yeah.
80 to 85% of the people who bought tickets to Coachella this year were on some payment platform.
Like a buy now, pay later, which is the perfect example of just that category of people that so many people are going out there. Like, yes, you could argue a fraction of those people go because like, oh, it's an amazing experience and it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. But I reckon over 70% of those people on buy now, pay later are doing it because they feel like if they don't go, they're not seen at the event. They're craving that validation and they're putting themselves in like a ridiculously stupid financial hardship position over something that just doesn't need to be attended.
Yeah, like you don't need to go on these expensive trips and like be friends with all these people or like.
I saw something the other day that I thought was, it's like you don't have shared interests with your friends, you have shared addictions. And I was like, fuck. That hit me pretty deep when I was, September 2023, stopped drinking. And fuck, like pretty quick, a lot of my like friends that I'd been around for a long time, by like the 4th or 5th time that I'd said, nah, I'm not going out, like they ain't calling for anything else. They're not calling for a coffee. They're not calling for like a gym sesh really. They weren't calling to like check in on me. It was just like, oh, you're not coming out with us? Okay, we don't share that addiction anymore. Like, I'm not calling you.
We're not the type of like friend that you would want to hang out with.
Yeah, like it's a part of life as well. But I thought that was pretty interesting. And sometimes catching up with those friends, I'm like, it's actually sort of hard to talk to you in a way.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like if we didn't have, obviously, because you test that, but like sometimes if you don't have those same similarities with your friends, that like, why, like, on both ways, why would you reach out? Why would they reach out? Because it's like, okay, well, if they don't want to do any other thing besides this one thing that I don't want to do.
Yeah, and the opposite as well. When I was out drinking, partying, like I used to run a big events company in Sydney. And when I was at the peak of that, I knew like
Alfie promoter. Yeah, I love that. I wish I fucking dude. I wish I meant that so bad.
Like shoulder length hair, but I knew like all the DJs. I'd fucking like go out all the time. And in Sydney is one of those places where like if you continuously go out, you sort of become known in that scene. I'd like skip the entry at clubs, like know the security, like get back end tables, and I was like that guy for a little while. And you've got so many friends. Everyone is your friend. And like you get loads of attention, and in that circle, you're super well validated, and it's hard to leave because there's so much validation in there.
And it's also like you're risking that life, like to move to a different like area in life, you have to sacrifice the old life.
You have to destroy the old you.
Yes, which is like all your friends, all your like. My biggest thing has been like habits. Like it's hard to change. Like now that I've used self-destructing habits of like procrastinating and like waking up late or not having the discipline to work out or not, like you can't do that anymore if you want this new life. Like you literally have to kill.
I reckon the biggest one, like what you're speaking on, is identity shift. And that's why when I put myself on social media and was like, I'm Alfie Gets Hard now, like that was so contrasting to who I was before. Like the amount of people that talk shit about that, obviously understandably, like I've gone from this like going out, partying all this stuff, and now I'm like, yeah, just finished up in Ibiza. My name's now Alfie Gets Hard. Like that's like the most like, how conflicting is that with like the previous identity of what people knew me as? But because I crafted it around that and put it so publicly, it was like over time, and 75 Day Hard's a great example. It's like day 1 and day 2, you're still closer to your old self. So people were still asking me like, oh no, come on, it's Friday this weekend. Like we're going out, we're celebrating X birthday. I'm like, oh no, I'm day 7. They're like, day 7, just fucking restart. And I'd done it in the past before, tried 75 Day Hard, didn't put it on social media, and I folded like halfway through.
Yeah, dude.
Or no, even earlier, probably like 20 days in. And so like we're going out, I put myself in the environment where I was still going out, but doing 75 Day Hard. We're at a festival, I was like, oh, fuck it, like whatever, give me the drink. Like because I felt and bended to that social pressure.
And you're in that environment. Dude, this flight loves you.
I know. I must smell.
And it's like, well, that's what I was talking about earlier when I was in the high school, where it's like I had to leave a lot of my old friends, not because they were bad people, and it's not because these people are like, maybe they didn't treat you like shit, but like part of killing your old self is literally walking away from everything. And it doesn't have to be like a fuck you thing. It could be like, I want you to eat, just like not at my table. And you have to like be alone for a little bit and like take these actions. Like it's not going to turn overnight, but the thing that will change overnight is you can make the decision
I'm going to eat it.
Dude, I know. I'm going to fucking kill that thing. You can make the decision at any time to turn the page. And you can decide that today I'm going to wake up and I'm going to change my actions. And it's like every day, if you just choose that, the next thing you know, in the next like week to a month, like you'll notice like this big shift of like all your friends you're not really hanging out with, and it might feel lonely and it's gonna be hard because it's new, but then at the same time you're also gonna be moving in a new direction and you'll start naturally attracting dude, I want to get it so bad.
But we also hate change. Like as humans.
Well, that shit sucks.
Yeah, and as humans we hate change, and we hate when change is pushed on us as well. So we have a friend that like all of a sudden was like life of the party, coming out every weekend, and now they're like, nah, I'm locking in and I'm training twice. Like it makes us uncomfortable because we're still going out and doing that, and we're sort of maybe looking at our lives and being like, well, why is he changing? Because you must be changing for a reason. And if you're changing from what made us similar, that means that you're moving away from like what we had before. So I don't know, it's just change.
And it makes them question themselves, and it's like people will start projecting and like, are they really your friends if they're not supporting you and helping you through it is your thing? Like if you're trying to say like, I want to stop drinking and really like move forward, if they were really your friends, why are they trying to?
But that's the shared values thing. Is like, I think when you meet someone on shared values, which I've still got some of those friends today, and they've seen me through like thick and thin, those ones we have shared value connection with. The ones that probably didn't see me through thick and thin were more just like, we shared the vice of the addiction, and therefore our shared value was like having fun and getting fucked up. And therefore when I didn't want to have fun and get fucked up, that value was gone. But yeah, it's just a shared value thing. And I think I've come back to it a lot. Because people do push the lonely chapter, and I'm actually not a fan of it. Like,
dude, yeah.
To be entrepreneurial is going to push you into a pretty lonely place anyway, particularly if you want to go places that not many people have been. So it's like, you need to hold on to as many people that have shared values with you. You shouldn't push those people away. Yeah,
I like that you have like a core thing that you look for. Like me personally, it's really like giving, or I'm not a penny pincher, so penny pinchers can't be friends with you.
Yeah, abundance is key.
Dude, like
I used to be a penny pincher, bro. Like hard.
Dude,
bro.
really?
Oh, or like not to like other people, but I would just be like, I would spend $40 a week on my food budget. Like it was like canned tuna. When I was a student, I was like scraping by, and I was like, whatever I could eat. I would never buy organic. I would never buy free range. I would just get the cheapest possible thing. Like I remember confronting someone. I think it was one of my friend's girlfriends, and she was like, oh, you should buy free range eggs. I was like, nah, that's like a scam. They're like double the price. Like I'm never going to buy free range, like taking the person. Now I'm like promoting it because it changes over time.
Yeah.
And I think being in a position where you can afford it, but also the mindset of like, what does that buy you?
Yes. I was like, I don't know if I would count that as like a value, but I think the mindset of having abundance and knowing that like, it's going to be okay, or like, you'll get me. It's like this relationship and this mindset with money, like, you need to really have aligned on everything. Like I like being around people that are abundant. I like being around people that can keep their inner child, that can like have fun, but then people who are like, tell me when it's real, you know what I mean? Like I like people that will be able to like tell you the best advice because they want the best for you, not because of like they're just trying to be like a yes man.
Yeah, like no hidden agendas. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think the more successful you become in a way, or at least the more demanded you become, like in terms of attention, all those things, no hidden agenda is like super important. Whether that's relationships, whether that's pretty much anything.
Yeah,
like in business as well. You want people that are just like clean cut and want the best for you, but also aren't trying to conceal anything along that way.
And I don't know how like energy you are, but I think like if you really do have good intention and you like try to give people the best value that you can give, and like with a genuine heart of like just wanting to give to people, and like hope that my information or like me responding or like me meeting you at RAWDAWG is like a way that I can give you value that you turn around and like it benefits your life. Like the more you can give, the more you get. Like it's not transactional where like, oh, I'm gonna give you this, I'm gonna give you this. But imagine like when you're making these posts, you might be the one reason that this person gets up and does something today, or that they get up and that they like had a smile on their face because the rest of the day sucked because they're in like high school and they're like parents abuse them, or like they're just in a city situation, or like they're stressed about life. Like, dude, I know me, like I just like started adding like a bunch of more employees, and then now like having a baby, I'm like all of a sudden my responsibilities just tripled, and then like it gets overwhelming. And so to be able to like, it's so nice.
Yeah, I think energy is a massive one, and probably under talked about when you go to something like a RAWDAWG or when you put on events. Like you have to come in with a ball of energy, and by the end you're like depleted. Like you give so much out, and like I reckon you on top of anyone else, but like I've felt that as well, where you just give a lot of energy out, and I don't think it's a very hard thing to quantify. Like you don't go, oh, I went and expended X amount of energy, like calories. It's exhausting sometimes.
Yeah, and it doesn't come back from like transactional, or it's a percentage. Like it just like opens new doors, or then people are more willing to like, whenever you do, like all of these connections make so much, like they're so valuable, you know, because like that could be the one person that's supporting your brand. Like if you think that like all of your followers are like gonna buy the shit that you're wanting to sell, like you're just wrong. Like there's a small group of that group that are like dedicated people just because you had a good interaction with them, just because you responded to their comment, just because you were like, whatever. That could be the one thing that like, they're like, I love this dude. And it's like, nothing's too small of like a kind act. And I think it's also good to like, you said something earlier where you were like, going into these events with energy, you have to set the tone for everybody else. You have to be the first one that like is cringe to allow it to other people to be cringe, you know what I mean? Like, you got to be the first one to hit the dance floor and just start fucking dancing, because then next thing you know, like, you have a million people there that are like dancing, or you got to go up and say hi to someone, and then they'll be like, oh, well, I've already talked to one person today, like, I'm gonna talk to another one. Like, it's a chain reaction. What's his face, Reagan, I keep talking about him, but like, he's just like one of my favorites. He has this fun game of whenever biking and we do a lap around Ladybird, he tries to see how many people he can high five. And it's like, he's just like, every single person he's trying to pass is he's trying to like make them smile and like have a good day. And I'm like, I think things like that are like, he inevitably will just like steps in a room and tries to like help people. And I'm like, people naturally want to give back to him. Like, he like is homeless. He just travels around pretty much on like the kindness of others just because he's a fucking light. And I think that's so fucking cool. And it shows the power of just like having some charisma and like putting yourself out there and like trying to make someone's day better. Like, that shit does good, bro. Like, just as much obviously negative, like you can like yap on social media about like a bunch of controversial topics and like that or do well. But I really think positivity goes far. And I think that like that's what really builds like a good personal brand, is like you have a positive message that you're attaching to. Like, what is the reason they're following you and what are you trying to inspire? You know, like, I want to inspire people that have like a balanced lifestyle and to show them that like it's possible to like build your own brand and to like do these fun things without having to like be David Goggins. Like, I think the more connections, the better. The more people you can touch is better. Why should you isolate? Especially as an entrepreneur, like, you need, like, your net worth is your network. Like, you need to be meeting people. You need to put yourself out there to like, but if you never do that, you could be like really socially awkward. And then when those opportunities do come to you, it's like you fumble it just because you weren't practicing.
Yeah, I've changed my mind on a lot of things. I used to be a big believer in like, oh, don't tell people your goals because you fractionalize the success. And then like when you tell someone, like, say I had like crazy idea, like, oh, I'm going to build this $1 billion company, and you go, Alf, that's sick. Like, you're going to do that. And I'm like, oh, sort of like a little bit of dopamine. But I think over time I've realized that actually sharing those ideas and those ambitions, if you share them with the right people, like, you are one of those people that will connect me with more people to do that. And just by like sharing and inspiring people and being very open with that and like trusting in other people, you'd be surprised at how generous people are with their connections, with their network. Because I think people who have ambitious goals respect other ambitious goals.
100%. They see themselves in you. Like, I've definitely noticed with like different mentors, it's like people, like, money loses its charm after a while. Like, these people are worth like millions, and so like I can't offer them more millions, you know, but they just see themselves whenever they were younger, and it's like people naturally want to help people that are doing something good, you know what I mean? Like, I think that you should eat, sleep, and breathe your dreams as much as you can. Like, manifest that bitch. Like, it just takes meeting one person to solve your fucking problem of like whatever, but they would never even know to help you if you didn't like mention it.
But they feed off energy as well. I think those people that money is no longer as valued to them, they feed off energy. So it's like when you come in and you're like excited and you've got this idea and it's like bubbling inside of you and you like can't wait to share with them and it's fucking lighting you up, and they see you eat, living, breathing your dreams, like, that's what they get excited about, and they want to feed that energy because it gives them energy.
What would you say to someone that like is just scared to put themselves out there? Because like, what if they fail? Like, what if they turn around and they come back and they're like, okay, so how'd it go? And you're like,
I think it's like worst case, you go back to a life that you didn't want to live anyway.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the reality. I remember when, I think it was like some colleagues and stuff were like, are you really going to go like all in and like all that? I'm like, oh, worst case, I end up back here working with you. And it was like, fuck, that was like I didn't even mean to say it and be offensive.
Ew,
but it was like,
Alfie gets savage.
Yeah, it was like, I didn't even mean to be offensive with it, but that was the truth. It was like, worst case, I'm back here with you guys. And like, that is like the worst case, lowest barrier. It's not like, I don't know, I feel like when people make a big decision like that, they think worst case, oh, they're gonna like lose their house, lose their job, homeless. It's like, no, you just go back to like where you were before. That job isn't gonna look at you and go, oh, you tried to have a go at your dreams. Like we're barring you from ever working.
Yeah. Or like some other company that does the exact same thing, and it's like.
Yeah, and I agree. I also like the attitude of burning the boats though, and like that concept of like put yourself in a position where it has to work, because you're going to work so much harder for it. Like, don't dip the toe in and out. I dipped the toe in and out for social media for like arguably too long, but I think that's just me because I'm a little bit risk adverse.
Yeah.
I've become more risk taking. I think as I've seen the evidence that I can achieve the things I set out to achieve, I'm willing to take more risk because the payoff seems to be larger and larger.
Yes, the more like.
It's like a chain reaction.
Yeah, like it just like fucking spirals. And then, but you gain skills. It takes confidence for a while, because then at first you're doubting like, oh, like, is this going to work? Like, can I do this? Like, is this even going to be even better? Like, what if, all the thoughts kind of like make you hesitate. And like, I definitely went through the same thing, but like, I definitely agree. Like, you have to burn the boats. You can't just be like, well, I'm going to have this side hustle that I'm going to do with my job. Like, eventually you're going to be spread too thin. And I think it's just like, you gotta, like, I literally was just like, you know what, I'm doing this full time, I quit, and like, you gotta be like down to commit to it, like, I'm back at my parents' house. I didn't just see it like not working for the first month and be like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. Like, I was like, I'm going to dedicate my life, like, I'm quitting this job, I'm committing myself for the next, I don't even know how long, like, this could take a year, this could take 6 months, this could take fucking 5 years. Like, it took me a while until this became like my full-time job, but I was down to thug it for it. I wish it obviously, like, I went into it a little smarter of how to get into brands, and maybe before I quit I was like, had a more of a whatever, but I think RAWDAWGing it by far is like my favorite.
I think that's your approach though, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah. But I also think the discontent with where you'd be if you stayed the same, that has to be greater than the friction to change. So like, you're probably looking at your life and just being like, well, if I stay where I am now, like I'll be so uncomfortable by that, and that is greater than the effort it's going to take to change. And it's like, as long as you can have that, as long as the pain to stay the same is greater than the pain and effort it takes to change, you're always going to like actually take action. And I think until that point's played out, you're never going to take action. And a lot of people don't look far enough ahead to realize the amount of dissatisfaction they may have with their life. I think they just like live like now, they keep going out on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and they don't like zoom out and go like, hold up, if I actually map this out, where am I going to be in 3 months, 6 months, a year? And that's what I did. And that's when it was like, okay, something has to change. And that was like the biggest piece.
I like I don't know if it's called the Goldilocks rule, but it's like, sometimes it would be better for people for their situation to be worse so that it causes that change. Because some people, I think, get stuck in that like, this isn't like, it's
not bad.
It's not
not terrible.
But like, I get to do like, I have like with me for sales, like that was the closest I had to like being able to do this lifestyle. Like, I had pretty much freedom in my own schedule. I only had to work like a couple hours out of the day. Like, it was really chill. And like, I could have just stayed there and like I thought $90,000 was a lot of fucking money. Like, I was like,
well, for a 21-year-old.
Yeah, like I was bullying, but I zoomed out too, where you're like, dude, like, if I wanna, like, this is good, but this isn't like, I'm not ecstatic. Like, I want to fucking romanticize my life, or I want to imagine it. I like Kevin Hart's saying, it's like, when I'm on my deathbed, I want to look at my life like it's a book, and I want it to be fucking full of adventures and full of excitement. Like, I want to be stoked about life. Like, I get one fucking life. Why would I just be like, yeah, like, no, like, you gotta have a full book. Like, I genuinely believe I will do everything in my power to make sure that I live life as much as I can.
100%. Talking about books, new chapter coming up. Kid on the way.
Oh yeah, fucking. Right. I think we have a name. I don't know if it'll be 100%, but Kylo, Kylo. Kylo Rolette. It's a boy. He has a little penis right now. He's the size, dude. He's like.
It's actually wild.
He's
it
big.
must be getting
real.
Real.
Dude, yeah, that's like it was scary, but then I just keep reminding myself that I look back at all the things that I have done, and like, I just, even though the fear's still there, I'm still trying to walk with it at utmost confidence, and it calms me down just being like, I'm so capable of like figuring this out, and like, is it gonna be hard? Like, yeah, like I have no fucking idea how to
How to dad.
Dude, yeah, like
Bro, no one does. Like, that's the thing. I think when you realize, and like I love the quote where it's like, when you realize your parents are just going through life and figuring it out for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's like, same with you, right? Like, you're just going to go through life and figure it out, and you're both going to figure it out together. And that's like the beauty of it, is there's no real manual on how to do it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes if you're too held tight on like, it has to be this certain way, like, who's to say you even know what's best for you? You know, like, I think it's good to have like a basket of like general direction you want to move and like approach life, but be open to being wrong and be open to like doors that open up to you. You know, like, I never thought I was going to do social media. I never like wanted to be like my job. Like, I was a super private person up to leading to that. Like, I literally had like private spam where it was like, I don't know, like 50 people maybe. And it's like, I would post on that, but like, I didn't enjoy like the idea of like, I remember thinking about like being like seeing like other influencers and being like, I never want to do fucking that. Or like, I would never make videos. I didn't grow up doing, this was never like my dream. But I started posting that one time, and then it kind of worked. And I was like, I wasn't so focused on this idea of like, oh, like, but I want to be an entrepreneur, and like, I want to have a business, and I want to be like that secret millionaire. I was like, shit, like, maybe this is a avenue that would work for me. Like, I was always open to change, like doing different businesses, like learning from each thing, and like being open to where I felt pulled. Like, I wanted to try as many things as possible, but then all you have to do is kind of like follow your intuition and what feels best. Like, at the end of the day, there's no like guidebook on how to do what.
No, there's no right or wrong. But I think also you're an extreme optimist. Like, what I've noticed with you is it's never like even when you told me you're having a kid, it wasn't like, oh man, like, it was like, I'm having a kid. Like, you're fucking like, you're just like, every door is an open door. Because it'd be so easy to be like, oh my God, look at all the doors that are shutting on me. Like, even as you go through life, I think you can either be like, one door opens, or you can be like 10 doors shut. And like, there's a lot of 10 doors shut people in the world. Or you go like, no, 10 doors opened. And like, through that door, you know, if one door closes, another door opens. Like, that is the reality of it. And I think the more you can look at life like that, you're going to always feel like you're in a place of opportunity. And as long as you feel like you're in a place of like opportunity and abundance of opportunities, you at least can decide which direction you go. Too many people feel like trapped and cornered and in this like scarce mindset of, I'm being cornered into a life I don't want to live. And it's like, it's up to you to change.
Yeah, let go and like be open to change. I like the part where you're saying like, you have to be in this kind of like frequency. Like, if you think that money is abundance and that you like give willingly to people, and you show up every day, that you're like trying to do this thing, and that you're trying to spread positivity, and you're practicing gratitude, like, I think you naturally are on this like frequency that attracts more of it. Like, your brain has natural bias. If you think the world is out to get you, you're gonna look subconsciously for every negative thing that's happening. Or you can think that like you're blessed, and that you have a roof over your head, and that you have like food, and you have friends, and you have all these basics that are like really the only thing you fucking need. And naturally your brain starts looking for, oh, like this person opened the door for me, or like this person did this. And it might be like so subtle, because your brain subconsciously literally analyzes everything and decides if that's a positive feeling or a negative feeling. And like that's why your day might be super pissy, because you're thinking the world is against you, and this person may be like, close the door a little fast, and you're like, fuck, and like, you can't, I don't think you could be a successful entrepreneur if you let like your emotions just like run for you like that. Like, you need to like believe in yourself, and you need to be okay with being like the day not happening the day that you planned it, because it fucking won't. 90% of the time, like, something goes wrong, something doesn't go to plan, like someone doesn't follow through with something, and you can sit there and bitch about it, and like, it'll be so much draining, or way more draining to like go through your day or go through the month of like, there's gonna be lows. Like, there's gonna be fucking times where you're cutting it close, and you're like, fuck, like, I have all this workload, and then I'm trying to balance this social stuff. Like, it becomes a lot. But if you can just look in that frame, and you can like be like, you know what, I fucking got this, and that like the world is like I'm grateful for everything now. Like, it just allows you to, it's just a lot nicer to go through it. Like, it still sucks, but like, I'm happy. I'm not like torturing myself, I guess is a better way to say. Like, I choose to be optimistic about life. I choose to try to assume the best in people. I try to allow myself grace for messing up, you know, like I choose to do that rather than the other way of just like.
Yeah. It's like all this stress and worry just to end up dead anyway.
Yeah.
Which like is so easy to say when you're not stressed and worried.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes having perspective and getting that perspective is so important. And so many people, like, I think, live this super stressful life because they are just so worried, so anxious, always looking at like what's possible that can go wrong, like in this constant negative framing. And it's hard to have an enjoyable life like that.
What was a hard time for you? Like, what was like, I still, as much as like, I hang out with you a good amount, to be honest.
Yeah, given we live on other parts of the world.
Yeah, like I feel like I've seen you like almost every month at this point, even though it hasn't been. We've had a couple breaks, but I feel like I see you all the time, and I'm still getting to know him, and it's cool. Like,
I think this trip will be good.
Yeah,
I think there'll be a lot of unpacking.
Yeah, and so I'm curious, like, even if they're curious too, like, what was a hard time for you? Like, what were some struggles that really made you like be like, fuck? If you have any, I don't know.
Yeah, to be honest, I've lived a life with pretty minimal adversity. I mean, there's been a few things. I had a few things in like business and friendships where probably like it felt like I was sort of outed of some friend groups. And I think that, I don't know, I think when you're young and if you get outed by a friend group for something, that can like really hurt and like
was this like content specifically, or this because you stopped drinking?
It was like, yeah, prior to starting drinking, but in that same year, just like some business, like learning not to do business with friends, and then just that escalating into like lots of people getting involved and feeling a little bit like cut from a friendship group. But yeah, apart from that, there's been nothing like super shaping or defining in terms of adversity. But I think because of that, I've tried to put a lot of adversity and challenge into my life because I'm quite aware that I haven't had, like, I've had a great upbringing. My parents were awesome. We went to like private school. I worked really hard at the private school and got like a scholarship over to Sydney Uni when I was 17. So finished school early, went on an academic scholarship to university. So I like made the most of that opportunity. And I think I had like an awesome life and was always someone that, yeah, just seemed to be able to figure it out. I could get teachers to like me. I could figure out the school system. So I like ended up being academic ducks. Like managed to
academic what?
Like ducks, like first in my school.
Oh, nice.
So managed to like figure those things out, was like a prefect, always had those things. So I think because I had pretty minimal adversity, I've tried to put challenges in my life that make me resiliently tougher. And I think if you talk to a lot of my friends, they'd probably say like in terms of resilience, definitely to physical challenges, I'm someone who will just thug it out. Like I'll just keep going. Like I enjoy that pain cave of that.
What do you think brought that? Because it's crazy hearing that, and we were talking about that earlier, where like you need that suffering, and I agree. Like I think men really need a hard life to build like a strong man. But we talked about also on the opposite side of that spectrum, like there's a lot of people that are just like super rich and like have had like an easy life, and it's like they just choose to like do nothing. Like what do you think brought that drive? Or that
I think it was because my parents were the first generation that had like properly made decent money. Like they're not like crazy, extravagantly wealthy, but they're definitely well off. Like I'd say like upper middle class. Yeah. Or maybe upper middle class. I don't know where it would categorize. But like
upper.
But they're not like top echelon billionaires. But they're also like, mum went to Cambridge, but she went to Cambridge on scholarships, became a doctor.
They like hustled.
She like paved the way. She hustled. My dad ran a marketing agency in London when he was like super young, exited out of that. So it's like they did really well young, and I think they instilled that in us. Like I worked since I was 15 in a vineyard, so they sort of instilled that like money is important. I mean, I was working for like $15 an hour. All of a sudden, if I wanted something, I was equating it to the number of hours I had to work. And over time, that's when I looked around and I was like, hold up, something doesn't add up here, because like business class, first class flights, this car, this house, like that's a lot of $15 $8 an hour of work.
Think about how much time of your life just dedicated.
Well, I was like, there's not enough lifetime. I was like, there's not enough lifetime to make that unless I got paid at like a really high hourly rate. And then I was sort of working backwards from like the highest paid jobs, like lawyers. Like I was going to study law at uni, and I was like, it just, like, I couldn't add it up in my head. And that's when I was like, okay, I think I'm going to need to do something in the entrepreneurial space, because at that point, if you just get paid hourly, you're never going to be able to buy or afford or have this lifestyle that you want, because there's just not enough hours in a day.
So you kind of had like where did you start learning financial literacy? Was this kind of also built up behind your parents, or was this more like, because I know that like I didn't start thinking in this way until like after high school, and then I read like Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Yeah,
and like
I read that.
that was my thing of like, I started switching where I was like, okay, like, because I did the landscaping business first, but my friend Chris had started it, so like I was doing the thing before I was ever like mindset shift of being like, oh, I need to like work this kind of way and not trade time for whatever. In my brain, I was still like kind of trading time for money, because I was like, I'm doing the work but I wasn't thinking like big picture. And it wasn't until after I started reading that I was like, oh, like. That's
when it lit up. Yeah. Well, it was events. So we did this Invades, which Dom, who I've just been in Tuscany with, I'm going to intro you to. I brought his company over to Australia and New Zealand when COVID had happened. So it was the only place that you could really do events, because the UK was shut down. He like reached out randomly on Facebook and was like, yo, saw that you're like part of the rugby at uni. Basically, I run this event company. Would you be interested in bringing it to Sydney? And we were just coming out of COVID. And the first event we did, we sold 2,000 tickets in 5 minutes, which was like $120,000.
Yeah, that's
which was like crazy. And it was this sick model where like we rented space off the race course at like $5 a head, because it was a shoulder fixture of horse racing where they were never going to fill the whole stadium. And we're like, hey, we'll pay you $5 a head for the tickets. We'll pay you as we sell them. So it was variable. So we paid them like 10 grand for the space. And then when we made 120 grand and we brought in the DJ and the equipment, which was like student DJs. We actually got Setmo, which were like a Australian thing, but like all up, staging and artists and stuff cost us maybe another 10 grand or 20 grand. And then the race course kept all the food and beverage spend. So like we cleared like $90,000 on that event, and I was just like,
and that's like,
it was like light bulb.
It takes
like,
a couple hours out of your
and it was also with affiliate marketing. So we used all these student ambassadors.
Ooh.
So I connected them with all like the rugby secs, all the colleges, like basically in uni, all of the main universities. We had like representatives, and then they sold the tickets, and they got $2 a ticket kickback.
Wow.
Because they're students, like, and they could do it. And this is how we scaled his whole model. Here we get event manager, which I was in Sydney, and then we scaled to like Brisbane, Canberra, Melbourne, Auckland, Wellington, Dunedin, and Christchurch. So like 8 cities across Australia and New Zealand. And yeah, just such a smart model. And he sold like 500,000 plus tickets now. Like he's coming to the US, which was sick. But that was the first real insight of, if you're an entrepreneur, how much, if you can create value and like connect all the dots.
It's infinitely, there's no, your time could be worth all of a sudden $100,000 an hour. Is that reasonable? No, but like all of a sudden it is, because you create this specific
if you create $100,000 of value, someone will pay you for it.
Yeah.
So after that, I was on this like quest of, I was still working full time while I did that on the side. And I was at like full time, very corporate, big S&P 500 company, Procter & Gamble, then like Gillette. Do you know Gillette?
Yeah, the razor brand.
The razor, yeah. They own like Gillette, Pantene, Head & Shoulders.
Oh,
so it was like, if you could think of the most boring corporate job, it was that.
Yeah.
So I was working that on the side.
Your Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, like at least Goldman Sachs, like you get paid really well for it.
Oh, did you not get paid that well for this?
Not really. No, those jobs are like, you're earning like 60,000.
Oh, so like just like average,
65,000 Australian, which would be like 45,000, 50,000 US.
That sucks.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You come out of like uni and those are the jobs you go into. And I get it. It's like step one on the ladder and you work your way up. But I actually asked them at P&G, because when I left to like startup. I remember my head of director sales or whatever, she's like, oh, you shouldn't leave because Procter & Gamble pays more competitively than anywhere else. And I was like, well, show me, like, what do you pay? And like at the very top, they're getting paid like 400,000 a year.
Yeah. Which is a good amount, but that's not like, but is that worth it for that much time? Like how much,
that's 20
how long?
Years.
Yeah, that's 20 years.
20 years, same company. You've like committed, you've built, think how much value you've delivered for the company in those 20 years. And it's like, yes, you don't take on the risk and you provide the opportunity and all of those things. But it's like 400,000 a year for that much commitment in your 20s to like I don't know, it just didn't sit well with me.
No.
So then it was just a quest.
Yeah, because then, and then it's just a quest where you're like, you know what, you make that decision of like, okay, it's just wanting the change, wanting to be like, I think that I could achieve more, and I think that there's another way that I could live life. And like now with social media and like even after COVID, like that really awakened a lot of people that like you can make money online. Like you don't have to like.
But it's not even, I think, for both of us, if social media wasn't a thing, we'd still be doing entrepreneurial stuff.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's just that we've selected the vessel of social media. And I think sometimes people get upset because they're like, oh, you're leveraging social media to sell your business. It's like,
yeah,
if you're in any business,
what do you mean?
You should leverage it. Like, this is literally the best organic voice you could ever have. And the best part is, it's fucking free.
Yeah, brands pay
they'll pay
hundreds of millions of dollars just to put their brand out there because they don't have the organic pool.
But that's what I
you
also
can build that
find.
yourself.
I still find it crazy that brands engage influencers, because if you take any brand, okay, let's just take a milk brand. Like if I was a milk brand, I would get an intern and I would say, your job is to create a piece of content every single day, and I want you to do weird shit like milk challenges. Like I saw a guy who drank 1 milliliter of milk for every follower he had. In fucking 5 days, he had 300,000 followers.
That's fucking crazy.
And it's like he's now the most he is the most milk followed influencer in the world. And some milk brand could have just paid an intern. They probably could have got him for free. Like they could have just said, "Hey, come intern as social media. Like we'll put it on your CV, and that's your challenge." Yeah. I've actually seen one that's going at the moment. It's this billionaire who runs I think he runs a social media marketing agency, or that's maybe one of his things. And he's got someone who's interning for him. And it's like, hey, this is day one of interning for my billionaire boss, X.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
It's like,
I'm literally told Sebastian to doing that.
Bro,
I was like, bro.
It's genius.
Yeah.
Because like, that is the best content strategy. And even think of all the people that worked with David Dobrik, like being behind the scenes, the assistant.
Yeah.
Like you could just go, and if you wanted to blow up tomorrow, I would go and put yourself in a position that's interesting. Granted, you probably don't know billionaires, but let's just say you wanted to extend your knowledge. Go and intern at like a really interesting company and say you'll work for free, and then document the process. Or
shoot your shot with a creator, like a big creator. Be like, yo, I want to...
Yeah. If someone said, yo, I want to create your content for free, and I'll come and I'll like come out to you, you won't have to pay for anything. Like, I'll just like fund myself until you find it valuable enough. Fuck yeah.
Dude, yeah. I really think I agree. Like my cousin... I just hired my cousin Sebastian, and even look at my ex, for example. Like to be honest, like she did exactly what I think is like the smart move to do. Like if you have a sudden connection to like somewhere to attach, like leverage social media. Like all of it. Now she has her own platform and does her own thing, and I'm like, good job. I'm literally like, Sebastian, you need to do the exact same thing. Like you have the option where you have a really cool job. You're our only fucking like hire almost that we're like, dude, you can just be like.
And RAWDAWG has weight. Like, we chuck it in the YouTube title, and it drives views.
Yeah, and so I'm like, bro, you can literally just have a lift off. And, like, you're literally around me every fucking day. I access, like, so many people. Like, all you have to do is just, like, happen to be in the videos and, like, simply you create videos, like, showing interest of, like, doing it. And I'm like...
That's the thing. People think they don't have time.
Yeah.
And like perception of time is a real thing.
Or the sacrifice part. It's like, it's gonna fucking suck. Like, are you gonna be in like the best position ever and you're gonna be thriving? No, and it might fucking suck to be someone's like little bitch for a while. But like, to get to like where you wanna be, what are you willing and not willing to sacrifice? You gotta be willing to sacrifice some suffering. You can't expect to just like be given this like silver hand platter of like, okay, now you're making, $250,000 every month. Like,
yeah, and the risk is in the upside. Like the upside is in the risk. So it's like, it is uncertain. You can't promise Sebastian, if he posted every single day behind the scenes, he is going to be successful, nor is he going to make money. But that is on Sebastian to be like, I'm willing to take the risk for this to fail, for me to then get the upside of it.
Yes.
It's like, that is the beauty in like every entrepreneur.
And it's free, bro.
It's so free.
I think that's like the one part that really made internet money and starting to make money off social media like crazy is like, it's literally fucking free.
Like
you don't have
everyone
to pay
watching
anything.
this has an iPhone.
Yes, and everybody asks, oh, what camera are you recording? Phone. Literally everything is on my phone. Like even sometimes YouTube, I'll just turn around and like record it on my phone just because like there's no fucking difference. Like, and if anything, I think phone is even more personable. Like you should post phone content when you're posting content. Like you don't need to go get a fancy camera. People think they need like they love buying the best of everything for no reason. And I'm like, dude, like
all the gear, no idea.
Dude, I had like a half broken phone whenever I started, and I didn't have a tripod either. I'm just setting my shit down and like making a rock and like, or like,
and that's what also makes it authentic and makes it closer to you. I think people forget that. Having that, like, Noah's content wouldn't be the same if it wasn't filmed on an iPhone. Like, that becomes part of your brand. I also think anyone who's out there who's like, oh, I'm not doing cool enough stuff yet, or I'm not an expert in my field yet, is like,
that's not even relatable.
But also, like, set yourself a goal that is going to try and get you there. So, like, set yourself a really specific goal. Like, if you want to become, if you're looking at Chris Williamson's podcast, you're like, fuck, I'd love to be like Chris Williamson, but I don't know anything like he does. Like, he's like an encyclopedia of quotes. But it's like, okay, set yourself a challenge, read a book every single month, and then document the process of doing that. And document what you learn in that book. Document the process of how difficult it is to consecutively read books every single month. What are the challenges? What have you learned? Like, reflect on that process. If you want to get in killer shape, that's great. Like, set yourself an actual goal. A lot of people have like big goals, but they've got no plan to action them. And it sort of annoys me when I see it, because they reflect in 3 months' time and I'm like, oh, did you achieve that thing? And the thing that they're trying to achieve is like, oh, I want to run more. It's like, you need the rubber hits the road moment. You need to register for that marathon. And then it's like, oh shit, this is real. Like, I have a whole thing of like, if Ironman was a really cheap sport to participate in, the dropout rate would be through the roof.
Yeah.
Because like, you've got to buy the bike, you've got to buy your ticket, the register, like the whole thing normally sets you back at least a couple grand.
Yeah.
As like, at that point,
the ticket's
rubber,
$1,000 alone.
Yeah, the rubber has hit the road, because they know that without that financial commitment, you'd have a lot of people just being, oh, I want to be an Ironman. But it's like, okay, but when? When's it going to actually happen? And I think the more things you can put in your life that are solidified, locked in, and you're being like, I'm going to do this thing, and I have now committed, whether that's financially, whether that's telling other people, comes back to that identity shift. Tell people your big goals, because they, hopefully, if they are your friend, are going to call you out when you're not moving towards them.
Or even if they randomly get a connection and like they want to help. Like, that's what I'm saying. You meet all these people, like, it comes back to you, you know? Someone might like get a nugget and be like, oh, I just made this cool connection and like, I think y'all should meet because like y'all do a similar thing. And all of a sudden, like, you didn't even do anything for that connection, but by having this connection, all of a sudden it works out. Yeah,
like they may go, oh, I've got a friend, like, you know, if I was like, oh, I want to do an Ironman, you'd be like, oh, you should meet like Luke, he's a beast, like his bike. And then like all of a sudden, you know, like even when he was doing the Ironman training, he was saying that, Nick Bear gave him the bike.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, Nick Bear, like, let me, like, that wouldn't have happened if Luke didn't say he wanted to do an Ironman. And probably on top of that, Luke would have said, I want to get like X amount of time. And it would have been super ambitious. And Nick's like, fuck yeah, this guy's ambitious.
Yeah, let me give you my fucking personal bike.
Yeah. And on top of that, let me sponsor you as an athlete for BPN. Like, those connections come from telling people ambitious goals, because ambitious people who've either achieved them or in the process of achieving them respect same levels of ambition.
And I think really smart investors invest in people, not like more than, and like you could have a great idea, but then you could be like not the type of person that they could be like, look, like you have a great idea, it may be successful, but like I think the smart place to always invest into people. Like, I think I'm a very good person reader, and I think like when Tin and Darren, for example, like they literally were just working at a restaurant and like chilling, but I was like, they had this like creative mind that pushed me a lot just as an outcome of being around them, that I was like, wow, like I need to turn around and help these guys, because like I see that they have the potential to do something like great. And it's like, look what it turned into. It's just simply because I bet on the right person. And it's like, you look for certain traits, and like, you can lead a horse to water, but like sometimes you can give someone like a platter and like they don't even fucking know what to do with it.
It's very, very rarely the idea. Like, I don't really believe in NDAs, like non-disclosure agreements, because I'm like, the idea is nothing without the execution.
And it takes the person.
It takes the person to execute. What do you mean?
He doesn't have an NDA?
Well, nah.
Really? That's crazy. Or like if like you release, I guess you don't really have any bad content, but like you've never heard of that? I feel like videographers, that's a pretty normal thing.
Nah, like NDA is in like a non-disclosure agreement, more based around the idea of, oh, if I told you an idea, like for example,
that's
like
stupid.
editing apps or shit like that.
I thought you meant content. I was like, if he's just giving people like,
no, more based around,
he could blackmail you.
More based around like the idea. He could, but more based around the idea. Like, the idea is not the most important part; it's the execution, and it takes the entrepreneur to execute. And that's why I think backing people is like the best way to do it. Even now, like I'm like, yes, like for the situation you're in with RAWDAWG, it's like, yeah, you need the money now, but it's like, I'm more backing you as an entrepreneur to figure it out. It's not about like, oh, like it's like I didn't ask once of like, oh, so like what's the drop, what's the financials, like da da da, because I just know you'll figure it out. Like that's not my job to micromanage that.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to approach not only like investing but also like building a business, and like inevitably you're gonna have employees, and it's like a lot of people, like I personally, it was hard to like let go control sometimes, or like not be like that, because no one believes in it as much as like you believe in it, and sometimes you think that you can do something better, but where is your time valued, and like can you sit there and like micromanage everything, but like is that worth the energy, is that worth your time? Like your time might be worth fucking so much more doing something else, and the more that you can delegate, and as long as this person's like, you can believe in this person and trust them to like do a good job and figure it out, and they're not just gonna be like doing nothing. You know, they could be given the best job ever, and like they could be taking a week to respond, you know, like text this person and you'll make like 10 grand, and like it might take them like a week, and you're like all you have to do is your fucking job, and like it does the thing. Yeah. What's
your dream in like, yeah, I guess now bringing another life into this world?
Yeah.
What's your dream world look like with that having changed? Like, are you going to be traveling the same amount or traveling less? Do you think you're going to be like more parked up in Austin?
I think for the first year, yes, I will be, because I think there's just seasons. So like, I think for the first year, obviously, I'm not going to travel once it like the first like 6 months to 8 months. I think it's boring. You're not allowed to travel with it. But then around a year, like, I believe in, I want to raise this kid to adapt to our life, not this bubbled life. Like I want it to experience like being on planes and like traveling to places, and like I think if you just like stop your life because of a kid, like if anything, I want to give this little kid like as much experience and like travel as possible, and like I want to spend time with this kid in different environments. Like I want to expose it to a bunch of things. Like I don't want to create a bubble for this kid. I'd rather prepare the kid for the world than like protect the kid from the world, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like I want him to adapt to our lifestyle. So like, obviously that doesn't mean I'm going to be traveling every month, but for the most part anyways, I feel like I've been called to being like home in Austin more. Obviously the baby is like a factor for the new year, but even just after that, like I've really fallen in love with like creating this like bubble of like where I feel the most productive, and like I really see myself like I want to make $1 million a month. Like I that's like my, once I hit that, then like I can I think that's where I'll be like, I'll happy, satisfied, where anything plus is just whatever. But like I don't care to have that like, and I want to achieve it fast, because I want to, the life that I want to live and to give to like my girlfriend and like my kid, like that is the number that I decided that I want. And I want to provide this kid with like a great fucking life. And I think part of that is doing what I love, like walking with intent. Like I want to show this kid how to treat women great by like the way that I treat my girlfriend or like his mom. And like I want to show him drive by like how much I work out, how much I get up and do these things. Like even when it's a baby, it can model. Even when it's like 2, 3, like the first 3 years of this kid's life is the most important. It's when it builds its like attachment style. It's when it builds like its like confidence. Like you get all of these things by exposing it to environments. So I'm gonna try to expose this kid to as many things and uplift it as much as possible, and like make this kid have like the most confidence. And like I want him to just be prepared for any situation and have the confidence in himself, rather than being like, I want him to walk into the unknown and just be like fucking relentless. Like I'm gonna go get what I want. And like, I love that shit. And so I'm really excited to like, and then his mom will definitely teach him a lot about like empathy and kindness. I think she's like the sweetest, and I'm not as good at that part, but I'm really excited to like put him in environments and allow him to learn, but I don't want to force him to like do a thing. I just want to expose him to as much as possible in cool experiences. Like I want to give him like little dirt bikes. Like I want to have him mutton bus. Like I want him to just try all these things, and it can like, he can choose what eventually he wants, but I'm like, I want to prepare this kid just for like anything and everything. Like that'd just be sick.
How do you balance like, okay, we get to $1 million a month. How do you balance providing that large amount of like abundance and liquidity to the family without spoiling the kid to a point where now he's like has an experience back up against the wall?
I liked what my parents did. Like my parents weren't like that rich, but they made good money. Like they made good money. I did not make good money. Like I want this kid. I'll still help him out with like, I want to buy him his first car and like whatever curricular, like extracurricular shit that he wants to do. Like, yeah, but I'm not just going to buy this kid like.
So it's almost like invest in experiences.
Yes. Like I only want to expose him to like, oh, he wants to get into dirt biking. Cool. I'll buy you a bike and like you can try out this thing, but I'm never just going to buy you like cool clothes or like, oh, you want an iPhone or like you want this like thing. Okay. But that's the other thing. I want to teach you financial literacy. And like, I think that was one thing that my dad didn't, I wish approached differently, because he grew up also like really poor, like didn't even have enough to finish college, but ended up going to IBM and then like built this whole like life for him. So like he learned later kind of the financial literacy with it. He was just like super smart. And so I wish that, and he just like made me get a job. And like, I want this kid to be knocking doors like when he's a little kid and like learn how to like start a little lawn company or like spray painting curbs or like selling, you know, like just whatever.
But I think the job in a way is important because for me, I remember working like physically with my hands and me just being like, fuck, I need to use my mind because like my body is like, I remember working on site and I was like shoveling gravel and after like,
what did you do, construction?
Yeah. Just like in the summer break or whatever. And after 8 hours, like my hands were like raw and I remember just looking at my hands and being like, nah, like I need something that's not physical, because I was like, I enjoy working out, but this isn't going to be my life. Like I don't want to toil through labor for the rest of my life.
Hey, I was going to say, it makes you really appreciate money. That's why I like the landscaping part, because I'm like, he needs to be like pushing lawns or he needs to be outside like hustling in some sort of
But I would say like throw him into an environment where he's working for someone, because I also think that combination of working for someone.
Oh, because then you make the connection of like, oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, like that plus Rich Dad Poor Dad combined is like, I don't want to do this. Because I think life is just a game of finding what you don't want to do and failing. And you've got to like fail your way through that to find what you don't like. But there's always elements that you need to pull. It's very hard to be like, if they were, let's just say they got pushed into being an entrepreneur their whole life and they've never tasted what it's like on the other side. They're probably going to treat their employees like shit. And they're not going to understand like how to motivate them or any of that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Fuck. Okay, maybe I'm gonna make this kid work at fucking Chipotle. Okay.
Chipotle.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Would you like construction? What did your parent? Because I
worked in hospitality.
Yeah, but what do you think that your parents did? Like, what do you think they did really right? Like, I'm curious. Like, I think my parents, they weren't bad parents. They were good parents and they loved me. But me and my dad, I do not want to do the same approach that he did. So I only can model what I see and know that what I don't want to do. But what do you think your parents did that is like really good for like, that helped you, you know?
Super supportive. I think it was one of those things like, if I wanted to do anything, like they would make it happen. Like we lived on a little island that was away from the school. So it was like a bit of an annoying commute, took like an hour. But like if I wanted to do something, like if I wanted to play sport, if I wanted to try this new class, if I wanted to go on like a linguistic trip or something like that, they would make it happen. They would like move mountains to make it happen, but not in the way of like, oh, you can have anything, darling. It was more like, oh, if you want to do that, like we're happy to support that journey and we can make that happen. And I think as I saw that more and more, it then made me want to experience more things. And as I experienced more things, it pushed me to try things that made me a little bit more uncomfortable as well. So I think it was like a balance of putting me in environments that allowed me to figure it out.
Yeah, I like the like big thing on like critical thinking. Like I don't want to just tell this kid what to do. Like I want him to figure it out. Like you need to go, especially I think with men, like I think you need struggle and you need to fail and you need to experience that negative feeling so that you can not feel that way. Because I know I don't do a lot of things just out of like, I know that I don't want to fucking feel that way. Like I don't want to be all anxious and like stressed out and like feel like the world's collapsing on me. So I'll do all of these other things and make sure I'm doing these things. Like I feel like the world was caving in on me like this trip. And it was like, I looked back and I journaled about it and I was like, I'm not waking up early. I'm not working out. I'm not like checking in with it. I'm not doing all of these like things that you take for granted of what you're like regularly doing. I wasn't doing, and then as soon as they shifted, I noticed everything else fucking gets out of whack. Like, it's so cause and effect of like your actions, your habits are so important. And if you just allow yourself to slip into this, everything else will crumble. Like that is your fucking foundation.
Yeah, I think you need to find that foundation. For me, it's always sleep. Like when I'm stressed and being like overwhelmed with all the things I need to do, I'm like, did I get 7 to 8 hours of sleep?
What did you do with diet? Did they give you growing up, did they what specifically did they teach you about
I think it was
were you always into fitness and all of this stuff, or?
Yeah, for a long time. We were super, I was fortunate looking back on it now. At the time, I thought it was a childhood tragedy, but on this island, we had no fast food. So on the island, there was no McDonald's, no KFC, no Pizza Hut, no Domino's, literally nothing. And mum and dad were super into, not super organic, not Fruit Loop organic style, but they valued fresh produce. We had a garden and stuff, and we would grow tomatoes and blueberries and beans and all this stuff, and we'd go and pick them, and that was a real part of the childhood. And then they would always prepare something that was quite diverse in its plate. We always had eating the rainbow. Yeah, I ate
pumpkins and shit.
Yeah. I've never been a fussy eater. I would eat literally everything.
I agree on that. I just don't like pumpkin, but I agree that
you just gotta feed your kid to everything.
But I like the part you said where you're doing you had a garden. I honestly kind of want some land and get a little farm. I think it would be good to you need to face hard work. You need to cold manual labor. I think is so important. You need to be out there fucking picking weeds. I think it's a core part of
mow the lawns. But I think hospitality was so good. Hospitality for me, I worked in this vineyard since I was 15, and we used to do wine tours since I was 16 years old. Fortunately, where I was, you could just go. There was no RSA, responsible service of alcohol, and they were super chill. But it was that exposure to seeing people engaging, entertaining. I think the earlier you can do that, it just builds up so much confidence in your ability, public speaking, all that stuff.
Just natural charisma. Can you make people like you? You know, especially in hospitality. Not only are you serving people, but you also want them to like you so that they will tip you more, you know? You start building these, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think hospo is really good. And if it's a fun hospo environment. So when we're in hospitality, where I was, is this vineyard called Stony Ridge, which is just down the road from me in New Zealand. And basically all the other workers, apart from my brother and I, were all backpackers. So from Italy, France, a lot from South America, Canada, literally everywhere. So it was just this melting pot of all these different nationalities. And then we were the only locals working there. And it was so cool because they would all come with all their wacky insights from all. So it was all walks of life. And they were a lot older. They would have been in their 20s, some in their 30s, whereas we were 16. And they loved us. We got on really well. It was so funny. They would, at the end, they wouldn't let me do the wine tours unless it was for anyone who was hens or cheerleading groups and stuff. So I'd do them topless around the vineyard when I was 16. And they would pay me extra for these wine tours.
That's fucking hilarious.
So funny. It was a good place to work. The guy, Stephen White, who runs it, such a G. So he had a Hugh Hefner-esque era on Waiheke where he used to have these spa pools in there, and it'd be him and politicians and girls in the middle of lunch service, just in these sparkles in the middle of the restaurant. I was this is wild.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, what's his name? Reagan also did something like that where he worked a golf course. I think that was really cool because then he naturally made so many connections with
affluent connections.
Yeah, well. He knew billionaires because at this one. I think those are really good, golf courses or any high end stuff, because not only are you learning hospitality and I think how to treat someone and how much it sucks to be treated, because I think if anything rich people expect for somewhat I don't know who's the worst customer, but
I think it depends.
Yeah,
there are some super respectful rich people. What it also taught me working in wine though was brand. Because wine is the best example. They've got top sommeliers, which are wine, the expert wine tasters.
Those motherfuckers literally taste it and be that's French in this small little town.
But they're so well respected, right? Yeah. And then they brought out 2 bottles of wine. One had a label on that was more expensive. One less. Poured it. They tasted it, and they just went on about the more expensive one. Oh, this is da 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 da, and they were exactly the same. And it was that is brand, and that's more price perception, but what I learned was branding behind it. And whenever we served the wine, it was never about the wine and a little bit about the process of how it was made, but it was like, oh, this is Airfield. This is this row of Cabernet Sauvignon dominant, and then it's got like a Malbec blend, and it's being laid on the Airfield, which was used during World War II. And they laid these vines, 30 years ago, and we're producing Airfield ever since. It's one of our oldest vintages. And we go like into that, and that's what sold it.
Well, you're selling the feeling. You're selling like you're not actually selling the thing, I think a lot of brands are also realizing that too, just even on social media, like don't make videos and just like you selling the fucking thing, why this is the best, like sell the emotion behind it. That's why people sell, like that's why people buy stuff from you in general. Like if they
tell us real quick, talking about selling experience and selling feeling, I reckon some of the sickest marketing to open a brand, Scamp.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your
dude, so
your second child?
Yeah, my second child. Yeah, fucking basically. This child's expensive. I wanted to also mainly like a creative outlook. Like I wanted like RAWDAWGs. I love RAWDAWG, but it's not as much as a scalable output where I can just creatively like put my cool ideas to max. But with this, I can, and I think it's super scalable, and I love smoking, so it works with me. And I love smoking in like weird fucking places and like doing crazy like experiences, and like chasing natural highs was like the whole basis around this, is like how could I capture like weed smoking with almost like Red Bull meets like, because I also want to do cool animation stuff, but I want to sell that feeling, like chasing a natural high, if it's like falling in love, if it's like adrenaline, if it's like we're smoking on like a 250-foot ice waterfall in the middle of it, me and Darren, we just randomly went, and like things like that, or like I got a girl to shoot a Brett 50 and explode a grinder, and then I got a pic of her like riding in the Cybertruck with like a Brett 50. Like I think there's just like, it's really fun and works way better just to sell the feeling of what using your product feels like. When people smoke Scamp, I want them to think hot girl with the Brett 50 on a Cybertruck, or like I'm climbing a 200-foot ice waterfall with my homie, like having a good time. Like I want people to associate Scamp with that feeling, and people will buy into that way more than just being like, oh, like I have this stainless steel like thing and it's a lighter case. Like, to be honest, like all smoke accessory companies are the exact same. Like they also have organic rice paper. You know what I mean? Like you can buy... The
functionality is the same.
Yeah, the functionality is the same. It's like, what makes you different? What makes you like, why should I buy you? And like, I want to sell the feeling of like chasing natural highs and having this like athletic approach to smoking rather than being like a typical stoner. Like I want to approach it in my way.
I think it's going to be fucking sick. Yeah. I don't think the smoke industry is ready for this level of challenger brand coming through that's going to be so different in an industry that's just been dominated by big players. Like papers are just like whatever, just pick them up.
I think it's really important to go into markets that nobody has just revamped and made cool. Like Liquid Death is like my favorite example. Like they went into like the biggest monopoly of water and they killed everybody just because they had cool marketing. Like people would buy their stuff over just because the can looks badass versus like a typical Ozarka. Like you're selling the feeling of like, when you're drinking this, what does it feel like? And it's like, they did that great. And I'm like...
But also what it represents. Like,
yes.
Because if you drink Liquid Death, you stand by, I don't feel myself with like energy drinks and shit, but I still am into all those things. And I think that's what's cool about Scamp, is for a long time, I think stoners have been ostracized. Now they're like coming back into popularity as weed gets legalized, but there's no cool brand for them to stand behind. And I think if there's one thing I know you can do is build fucking cool brands.
Yeah. And it was the same with RAWDAWG. Like I noticed that after COVID, people wanted to make connections that weren't just drinking. People were like, the health and wellness was kind of up on the rise, like the whole hybrid athlete thing, like running was getting more popular. And I was like, dude, all the other run clubs are just like super serious guys, and it's like people who are like fully committed. Like no one's just having fun. And I think that's the like right time, right place. Like finding a market that like isn't new. Like I didn't reinvent the wheel by any means. Like it's literally just a run club. Like you go there, socialize. Maybe there's an ice bath and sauna, or like maybe some coffee, but like it's just people literally running and talking. And it's like, but we added cool branding to it, and we made it our own spin-off, and like that works so much better. Like I feel like the people that just start clothing brands, like that shit's so hard to get into. Like it's really flashy and it's cool to have a clothing brand, but like the odds of you succeeding in the clothing brand is so much harder than you finding a niche that like still has a big market, but just hasn't been, but you can tap into and make like a whole section because nobody else, you're not competing with, 1,000 other people. Like I'm sure there's other smoke brands that sell like accessories in a cool way, but I haven't seen anybody to do it in like a lifestyle brand or like you're selling the feeling. Like they're just selling the product. Like I want to sell the experience.
I think honestly it's going to change the game and it'll be quite a bit like Liquid Death. There's going to be so many rip-offs in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
And it's like imitation is the greatest flattery.
Yeah.
But be prepared
the same thing with run clubs, dude. There is a fucking run club everywhere. Like,
bro, the one in Indonesia?
Yeah, that's crazy.
There was this crazy one. They came all the way from Jakarta. They literally
it's
drove
like a 24-hour on a motorcycle.
On a motorcycle for like
and
24 hours.
Like,
and it was for this like one, they probably got like 3 hours.
Yeah, because then we got kicked out too. So like not even 3 hours, probably like 2.5. Like we
started. But this run club will flash up their thing because they gave us, did you wear the Indonesian versions of it? They gave us like t-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like identical to your pink and black RAWDAWG ones. And yeah, just like all in Bahasa though. So, I don't know, it's cool. It's like seeing that impact globally is epic. Like in an ideal world, I guess maybe you'd be like, oh, I have some original thought and like take it in and change it. But I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I take it as flattery. Like you
They've
thought
like
my thing was so
franchised you to Indonesia. Just
I know.
Forgot to ask.
I was like, I think that it's, if someone thinks what you're doing is so cool that they want to literally do the exact, it's so cool that they're like, fuck, I wish I thought about that.
Well, like, also it shows, like going back to your scalable vessel thing, it would be fucking hard for you to be like, okay, we're going to launch in every major city, including Jakarta, which is where they're from in Indonesia, overnight. Whereas you can do that with this.
Yeah.
Because if you get the right distribution partner, you can. So they can actually buy into that. Like, I don't think they were going, oh, we can do it better. I'm going to take their idea and localize it because I want it for my own. They were just going, they're never going to come to Jakarta. Like, that was the reality. So you're constrained geographically. Whereas with this, you're not, which is sick.
Yeah. And I like the idea of just, it's just so much scalable. Like clothes, you have to constantly make new things. And like, I have to make new products and it's fun to make new products, but then you can just rebuy back these things. You can hire a 3PL. You can do, it just, the overhead is way less. Like I have my cousin and then I have Waleed, which is my guy that does like my website and all my, like email marketing and stuff. And like, that's really all the overhead I need. The 3PL does the customer service. Like, you don't really have to touch anything. You just have to focus on the marketing and I can just have fun with it. And I think that's why, and I wanted something that was consumable and a subscription based thing. Like I think for the longest time, I never really thought about what kind of business I wanted to go into, to be honest. I would just like try the first thing that would come to mind because I didn't know what I wanted. And so now after like trying like 4 businesses or whatever, and even after trying RAWDAWG, like a free event is not the best platform ever to like
not the best business model.
Yeah, it's not the best business
model.
Hold
up, wait a minute, it's free.
And
I remember Tim going, when I told him about Coffee and Chill, he's like, you guys do what we do, but you charge for it. And it was like this like clicking in his brain. He's like, fuck. But it's built the platform.
Yeah,
like
it works, and it's just the engine that you make money all around it. But I for the first time I really thought about like, okay, I want this business to also fit my lifestyle and what I want. Like, again, what are you willing and not willing to sacrifice? I didn't want something that was like, events take a lot of my fucking time and it like, I have to physically be there. Like, I want to be able to promote this thing wherever I'm at. I want to be able to like meet friends and just be able to give them product and it's something that they can easily integrate. And I think of a product, I think of like, what could be like cool? Like, to be honest, I hate like pills or like I would never do like a supplement company because I think that is so boring. Like just like the act of it. Like I thought about that. Like I thought about how does it fit into my life? Like how could I naturally fit this product in? And then I wanted something that I don't have to go find a million new customers. Like the thing with clothes is that it's really cool, but the odds of someone buying every single drop, every single item is really fucking low. And you have to constantly acquire new customers. But with this, since it's a subscription, it's a consumable based thing. Like, yeah, with the other products, they might not buy all of them or they might just buy one, but I can keep the same customer happy and elevate and constantly give the same customer value and create a really strong customer base. And I really wanted to dive deep into how could I create like a bulletproof community. Like with RAWDAWG, there was a lot of like learning curves and mistakes made. And I'm like, okay, how can I really like give value to the people who are investing into me and like keep this customer for like forever? Like, how could I give this person a great experience, not only as they buy things, but like even outside of that, just for being like a customer? Like, how can I just like constantly give back to the people that are showing love to me? It's kind of like my whole approach with it. And so smoking kind of worked out to be the thing.
And it will have dropped by the time you're watching this?
It'll be sold out actually.
It'll be sold out.
Yeah. I think it'll sell out before it even like actually goes live, because I'm gonna give people who are early access like an hour early. So I think it'll be
so sick.
I think it'll be sold out. But
well, we'll wrap it there, but thank you, Noah. Noah's such a legend. I think you can see behind the tattoos, loud noise, and smoking. He's actually got a brain.
I
He's
actually,
fucking switched
big
on.
brain. I'm smart. There's like thought process behind it.
Exactly. But yeah, absolute legend. I'm a massive fucking believer in Noah and everything he's doing. I'm a massive believer in Scamp, RAWDAWG. Everything he's done thus far has been nothing short of creative excellence. So I'm super excited to see what's to come. I think you're going to be a great father. I think I'm excited for you to step into that role. And yeah, I just love the friendship we've built in this short amount of time.
Yeah.
And I think we've got an epic like 7-8 days together.
Yeah.
Just completely offline.
Dude, yeah, we get to actually disconnect and like
reconnect.
Just like disconnect and reconnect.
I'm really excited. We got such a good crew and we're so fortunate to be doing what we love. So thank you, man.
Dude, thank you.
Let's go.
Woo!